Hey Praxis people, I'm Miss Claire with Learning Smiles Tutoring. I wanted to go over some of my Math 5003 cards. I get a lot of questions about fractions, so this will also help with 5025, the CKT math. If you have to do fractions at all, this is a good review. So if you're just kind of wondering, okay, I haven't done fractions for a while, what's the difference between adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing? I'm going to try to do a quick under 5 minute lesson on that so you can review that. This is on my free flashcards. I'll show you that at the end because I want to just get into it, and then if you want to, you can see where I have these cards for free. Okay, so adding fractions. What you want to know about adding fractions is basically, let's say we have 1/2 plus 1/2. So that's the best case scenario is if you're going to have, these denominators that are the same. Because the biggest thing in adding and subtracting fractions is that you have to have the same denominator. So we have 2, so we're going to keep it as 2. So our denominator's 2, great, we're keeping it as 2. We're going to add the top because we're adding fractions. So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. So we have 2 over 2. We ate the whole cake, 2 parts of the 2. So 2 over 2 is going to be 1. So that's going to be 1. Great. So, but the problem is sometimes we have fractions like this, where we have 2/3 plus 1/6. And you can practice this later and then you can flip the card and see if you got it right. So when we have these different denominators, we have 3 and 6, of course we have to find a common denominator. So here we say, okay, this has 6 in common. So we're going to make this 6 and this 6. And then, you're always going to say, okay, 6 times what is 6? 1. So you're always going to carry that up to the top. So 1 times 1 is 1. So 1/6 is just going to equal 1/6, obviously, if we have the same denominator. But here, we were saying 3 times what is 6? So 3 times 2 is 6. We're going to carry that up to the top. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. So now we have that same denominator, which is so important when you're adding and subtracting fractions to have that same denominator. So we're going to say 4/6 plus 1/6. We're just going to add 4 and 1. We're going to keep that denominator 6. So we're going to have 5/6. So 2/3 plus 1/6, we can flip the card and see if we got it right, is 5/6. So wonderful. We now remember how to add fractions. Subtracting fractions, same deal. So let's say we have 3/4 minus 1/4. So again, just like adding, when we add and subtract fractions, we have to have the same denominator. So if you remember anything, just think when I add and subtract fractions, I have to have the same denominator. So in this case, great, we have the same denominator. We're just going to, keep that 4. But we're saying 3/4 minus 1/4. We're just going to do 3 minus 1 is going to be 2. Now, if we want to reduce this down even further, we're going to say what goes into 2 and 4. We can divide both by 2 because you always want to reduce your fractions on these tests, and you're going to get 1/2. So, that's when we have the same denominator. Right here, they're saying subtract 2/3 minus 1/9. So I always write it, when they have different denominators, I'm going to write it like this, 2/3, 1/9. So again, we have to have those same denominators. You have to have the same denominator. So right here, we're going to say, okay, well, we're going to use 9. 9's going to work. 1/9 is just going to equal 1/9. Here, we're going to say, 3 times what is 9? So 3 times 3 is 9. We're going to pull that up. And then 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So we have 6/9 minus 1/9 is going to be 5/9. We keep that same denominator. So let's check if that's right. So we do have 5/9. So later, you can go to these cards, you can practice these and make sure, you remember how to add and subtract fractions. But again, adding and subtracting fractions, it even says it on the cards. It says, find that common denominator. If they have a common denominator, great. If not, you have to find that common denominator. All right, that was the hard part. Multiplying and dividing is so very simple. So multiplying fractions, let's say we have 1/2 times 5/4. In this case, we're just going to multiply the top, then we're going to multiply the bottom. So 1 times 5 is going to be 5, and then 2 times 4 is going to be 8. So we can't reduce it. So we have 1/2 times 5/4 is going to be 5/8. So let's check and see if that works. We're going to flip it. So it tells us we're going to multiply the top, the numerator, we're going to multiply the bottom, the denominator, and we're going to get 5/8. So you can practice that, check it out. All right, now we're going to divide our fractions. So we have 1/8 divided by 7/9. So with this, you want to remember keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep this first fraction. So we're going to say 1/8. We're going to change this sign. So we're going to change it to multiplication. Always, you're going to change that to multiplication. And we're going to flip this. We're going to do the reciprocal of 7/9 is going to be 9/7. So keep, change, flip. That's what you want to remember when you're dividing. Now we just have multiplication. Very easy. Multiply the top, multiply the bottom. So 9 times 1 is 9. And 8 times 7 is 56. We can't reduce it, so we have 9/56. We're going to check it. And wonderful, 9/56, we got it. So subtracting and adding, find that same denominator, multiply, multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, dividing, keep, change, flip. All right, so that was 6 minutes. So I try to keep it close to 5 minutes. So hopefully you learn, you were like, oh, good, I remember all those fractions now in about 5 minutes. I'm going to go quickly and show you a couple other things if you have time. So first thing is I really, this is just kind of the cards have a couple things that'll help, but of course I love this Math Made Easy book. You can actually copy it, just copy it from my cards, and you can put it into your browser and you can find Math Made Easy. So I did not make this book, Lynn Gardner made this book, but I love this book and I use it to teach group classes. So it's a great book. It has all the lessons. She put it in lessons. She has practice, tests with answer keys. If you get this book and you want to kind of work through it, I do group classes. So let me kind of show you where you can go for that. So again, learningsmiles.org. And then you can go to more, practice group schedule. So tomorrow, Saturday, I have I don't know, this video will be out for a while, but you can always check this link. I update it all the time. I have a math session going on. We're going to go over geometry. So I use that book. I do have, parts of it up on my screen at a time, whatever we're going over, but you want to buy it so you can get the whole book and all the answer keys and everything like that. All right, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you, remember how to do fractions and have a great evening, morning, whatever time of day it is for you. All right, goodbye.